The wealthiest people you know are running on a psychological trick. Almost no one around them has noticed it. Not their friends, not their family, sometimes not even themselves. It isn't in their bank statements. It isn't in how they dress or how they carry a room. It's quieter than that. It's a pattern running underneath nearly every financial decision they make, automatically, without effort, without willpower. By the end of this video, you'll see it everywhere. And more importantly, you'll know exactly how to install it in yourself. Here's where most people get it wrong. They assume wealth comes down to discipline, or intelligence, or simply knowing the right people at the right time. All three of those things help. None of them explain the actual pattern researchers keep finding. Picture two people. Same university, same starting salary, same first job on the same floor in the same building. 10 years later, one of them owns a home outright and has a retirement account that could let them stop working at 50. The other is still living paycheck to paycheck, despite never having made a single objectively bad decision. What separated them wasn't IQ, it wasn't connections. Researchers who study this gap have found something far stranger sitting underneath it. Something that has nothing to do with how smart you are, and everything to do with how your brain processes a single concept: who you'll be in 10 years. In 2009, a UCLA neuroscientist named Hal Hershfield ran an experiment that changed how psychologists think about money entirely. He put people into an fMRI scanner and asked them to think about themselves, right now, today. Then he asked them to think about who they'd be in 10 years, and he watched their brain activity while they did it. What he found was strange. When people thought about their present self, a specific region of the brain lit up: the medial prefrontal cortex, the area associated with self-referential thinking, the part of your brain that activates when you think about you. But when the same people were asked to think about their future self, 10 years from now, that region went quiet. In its place, the brain activated regions associated with thinking about other people. Strangers, people you've never met. In other words, to a meaningful number of people's brains, the version of them that exists 10 years from now is processed less like me and more like some other person I've heard about. Hershfield called the underlying concept future self-continuity. Essentially, how connected you feel to who you'll become. And it turned out to predict financial behavior better than almost anything else researchers had tested. People with high future self-continuity saved more, spent less impulsively, and made decisions that consistently favored their long-term position over their immediate comfort. This connects to something economists have studied separately for decades: delayed discounting, the tendency to value a reward less the further away it is in time. $100 today almost always feels better than $150 in a year, even though the math clearly favors waiting. Classic economics treated this as fixed, almost biological. But Hershfield's research suggested something different. The discounting wasn't really about time, it was about identity. People weren't undervaluing a future reward. They were giving a reward to a person they didn't yet recognize as themselves. And here's the part that matters most for this video. This isn't fixed. Future self-continuity can be built, strengthened, trained, the same way you'd train a muscle. So what does it actually look like when someone has built this? Researchers have identified several specific techniques wealthy individuals tend to use, often without realizing they're doing anything unusual at all. The first is vivid visualization. Not vague daydreaming about being successful someday, but specific, detailed mental rehearsal of a particular future moment. What that version of them is doing, what room they're standing in, what decision they're in the middle of making. The more specific the image, the more real that future self becomes to the brain, and the harder it becomes to betray them with a careless decision today. The second technique is what researchers sometimes call self-continuity correspondence, literally writing a letter to your future self, or occasionally having your future self write back. It sounds almost like a self-help exercise, but multiple studies have shown it measurably increases saving behavior in the weeks that follow. The act of addressing that future person directly, "Dear me, 10 years from now," forces the brain to treat them as a real recipient rather than an abstraction. The third is age progression exposure. Some of the original studies in this space showed participants age-progressed images of themselves before asking them to make savings decisions. Simply seeing a realistic image of their older face significantly increased the amount they chose to set aside. The face made the stranger familiar again. And the fourth, the one that shows up most consistently in long-term wealth building, is reframing patience itself. Wealthy individuals who think this way don't describe saving or investing as sacrifice. They describe it as loyalty, not "I am giving something up." Instead, "I am keeping a promise to someone I'm responsible for." That single reframe changes the emotional weight of every financial decision. Spending becomes a question of which version of you gets prioritized today. And loyalty, once it's framed that way, is a far stronger motivator than discipline ever was. Now flip it. What happens to financial behavior when future self-continuity is low? This is where the psychology gets uncomfortable, because it explains patterns that get unfairly written off as personal failure. When your brain treats your future self as a stranger, every financial decision becomes lopsided. Of course, you'd rather give money to yourself right now than to someone you don't feel connected to, who may or may not even exist in the way you imagine. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's a structural feature of how the brain processes time and identity, and it disproportionately affects people under financial stress. Researchers studying scarcity have found that financial pressure itself narrows attention onto the present, making the future feel even less real and even less connected to who you are right now. It's a loop. The more distant your future self feels, the harder it is to act on their behalf, and the more difficult your financial position becomes, which pushes that future self even further away. Here's how to actually use everything you just learned. Start with specificity. Don't think about future you in general terms. Pick an exact age, an exact year. Picture a single ordinary morning in that future. What you're doing, where you are, what's on the table in front of you. The brain responds to specific detail, not abstraction. Second, write the letter. It feels strange the first time. Address it directly. Dear your name, 10 years from now. Tell them what you're doing for them today, and ask them what they'd want you to know. This isn't a self-help platitude. It's a documented method for increasing identification with your future self, and identification is what drives behavior. Third, install what researchers sometimes call the stranger test. Before any significant financial decision, ask yourself this exact question. Would I make this same choice if it benefited someone I loved deeply 10 years from now? If the answer changes depending on whether that person is future me or someone I love, that gap is the trick. Close it, and the decision usually makes itself. The wealthiest people you know didn't necessarily start with more money, more intelligence, or better connections. Many of them started with something far less visible, a future self who felt real enough to be loyal to. That's available to you starting today, not as a financial strategy, as an identity practice. Start there. Everything else follows. If this changed how you think about money, the original short version of this video is linked below. And if you want the deeper dive into how scarcity rewires the brain, that video is going live next week. Subscribe so you don't miss it.